Hello, how's it going? All of my dudes and dudettes. All of my honkers and honkettes. Let me look for some music real quick. Streaming music, no copyright, bruh. Wait, Netflix is completely. Really? I didn't know they were completely free to use. That's pretty tight, actually. Oh, wait. My streaming title is wrong. Wait, where am I? What am I using? What am I streaming from? Oh, I'm streaming. Okay, I am on Twitch. I was about to say. Let me go to my blue sky. Oh, I forgot. I don't have it. I just have it mapped to J. No, right now. Posts. I have to confirm my email real quick. That sucks. We also go on Twitter. Send out a whole thing, a slew of messages. MX. Frick. MX3 SY BW AOA. I think it's AOA. Yeah. Oh, you have to put the dash in there. All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold when you're undressed. I will decide my fate and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shake me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. So cold. Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a bad chick. All the boys stare, can't help it, it's a habit. Clothes that she wears, short skirt and a jacket. I just wanna get her all alone on a mattress. I just wanna have it, I just gotta have it. Rumors all around say her body is fantastic. All natural, not a piece of fur is plastic. Head to her toes, yeah, they say that she's a latch. Yeah, the whispers all around say she has a reputation. Don't believe it till I see it, so I want a demonstration. And I've always learned it better with a hands-on education. So I need a private session if you get what I am saying. And they say that she's not easy, no, she's really complicated, but that only makes it better, and it's got me so fixated. And I'm not the type to wait around, I've never hesitated, but she's got me captivated, so the game, I'm gonna play it, yeah. She got a body like a coaxin', she likes to keep the party going. These rumors got me feeling lonely, I want that body, baby, show me. She's got a body like a coaxin', she likes to keep the party going. These rumors got me feeling lonely, I want that body, baby, show me. You look good when you're undressed. I heard you like to get away. I heard you like to stay out late. I heard you had a couple boyfriends. I heard they didn't treat you right. I heard you're hated by your girlfriends, 'cause all the guys want you tonight. Yeah, they say she's too hot, they say she's too cold. Where she came from, nobody really knows. They say she looks young, but say she acts old. From everything I've heard, she gets out of control. And all the boys say she was sent from the heavens, but I'm not too sure that this girl is a blessing. She's got the devil's eyes and they'll cut you like a weapon. She's stuck in my mind like a bad obsession. Got bad intentions. She got a body like a coaxin', she likes to keep the party going. These rumors got me feeling lonely, I want that body, baby, show me. She's got a body like a coaxin', she likes to keep the party going. These rumors got me feeling lonely, I want that body, baby, show me. Yeah, I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy, you gon' see what's left of me. You gon' see success in me, you ain't seen the rest of me. I just wanna be the best at what I know, better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective with my notes, call me aggressive with my flow, call me offensive even though yo, I ain't gonna lie, life's tough. Try to get by, life's rough. Try to do it right, it's not enough. Even though you try, you still mess up. But I'm still gonna fight for what I love, still gonna die for what I love, still gonna try, I won't give up, still gonna fight until I've won. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret, 'cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no. stopping searching, yeah, it's burning. All this passion hurts me. I took action working, writing down these words. No, I'm not okay, I just wanna be something. I don't wanna be nothing, living all alone. No, I'm not alright, I'm just barely getting by. But I'll tell you I'm just fine, so you leave me alone. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left. And I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret. Cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no. Yeah, let's go. I'ma make a couple stacks, do exactly what I want to. Mix a couple tracks, get a lady that I'm drawn to. Turn up to the max, get me faded till I'm gone, dude. I do what I want, couldn't stop me if you wanted to. I just work hard, yeah, harder than the rest. Some people say I'm lucky, others saying that I'm blessed. But I keep my head down, cause I crave progress. You ain't never gonna stop me, cause it's my conquest. And I'm never gonna rest, yeah. And y'all don't know that I'm a soldier. I always felt like I'm alone.
Alright, I'm back. What happened while I was away? Did somebody die? Ugh. I do, however, have a... Alright.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm not the type to take no for an answer. I don't deal with people that are like a cancer. No, instead I hang with the people that enhance ya. And I'm not the type to give out second chances. I just wanna work on my own for myself. I don't need no help, not anybody else. Nah, man, I got it done. I'm working on my wealth and I'm working on my health. Keep on working to excel, cause I'm working on myself. Y'all don't know that I'm a soldier. I always felt like I'm alone.
Okay, what am I doing? Ooh, that was weird. I have one follower. Who's my follower? What? Oh, it's like Netflix. All right, there. I think a Tom Dark video just dropped. I think I just got the yes, it did.
Just when I thought I was
All
out,
right.
this fruity light skin pulled me back in.
We love Andrew Tate. We love Andrew Tate. Right? Andrew Tate's the goat. Oh no, bro. Look at that. That's a pretty accurate summation of Andrew Tate. Okay, that should be good. I'll just...
Just when I thought I was out, this fruity light skin pulled me back in. So it's been about a month since I last
That song's
talked
so
about
good.
Bottom G, and somehow it seems like Tate has continued on his downward spiral. It's almost sad at this point. I mean, personally, I think it's pretty funny, and I think for most people it is too because of the whole, you know, human trafficker aspect. But at this point, Tate has been so thoroughly culturally graped that it feels like God is just taking pot shots at his figurative corpse.
He's already dead.
At the end of my last video on Tate, I concluded by basically comparing him to those
Holy shit. I got gold on the PU, but I never freaking... I never got recoil springs. That's ridiculous.
But for guys that are convinced they're not gay. I mean, Tate is clearly having some money problems after getting his assets seized by the Romanian government.
10 kills without reloading, 300 eliminations with brain
crypto
rot.
scams to try salvaging all of his losses, with my personal favorite being Daddy Coin. Now, since then, Tate has continued to launch more shit coins, but he's also created
That's basically that sound effect that everyone uses basically like sums up his whole life.
So they can all interact with Daddy on Discord. Once again, I can't think of a more masculine and alpha male thing than joining a Discord server to talk to Andrew Tate. Seems based. Truly, this has demonstrated how much Tate loves all of his kittens. Now, this actual server is called The Real World with the tagline "Ready to Escape Slavery," which is kind of ironic. I mean, maybe it's obvious, but I'll spell it out. It's ironic because Tate is charged with human trafficking and running a human trafficking ring, and he's telling young guys they can escape slavery. Is the irony lost on literally all of these people?
So I messaged her. She's like, I'm only 16. I was like, give a f. Know about me. 21, I don't care. If you were to start lying and saying I'm all these,
I'm literally shitting.
16-year-old women or 18-year-old women, whatever the law is in America. 18?
It's 18 usually. You get married at 16.
All right, in Romania, it's 16. Sorry. So Vivian's been with me 6 years. She's completely head over heels in love with me. She wants kids with me. Everything. And we met and we felt whatever.
Everything Andrew Tate says, just like.
I usually pair them with Vivian.
Right. Actually, I kind of forgot.
Vivian's like 21.
Bruh. If you're not familiar with the backstory,
Simply
Andrew Tate
HUD.
originally started this whole thing with what most people know as Hustlers University. It's like the second most memed thing associated with him after the whole Sigma male alpha persona thing, the red pill. But basically, Hustlers University was a Discord server that you would join, and he would teach
I don't
you
like
to
the
drop ship
crosshair,
or some
but
retarded shit. But now,
wait, what is
possibly
this?
because of its reputation, Andrew Tate is rebranded to The Real World. Hustlers University is over. Now we're in the real world. So what is the real world? Well, according to its website, it's a global community created by Andrew Tate, where like-minded people work on achieving their personal goals. And as we see here, there's a lot of member benefits. Members get advanced training and mentoring from experienced industry specialists. The idea here is to help people develop key skills through their education system, which you're not going to get from a normal college degree, all right? College is a scam, and because of that, you should go into this new thing that's totally not a scam, the real world. And how much money exactly does this life-changing course cost? Well, it's actually pretty affordable, all right? It starts at a $60 minimum for the cadet tier, which is what some might call the beta, cuck, or brokey tier, obviously. But frankly, I think if you're gonna go in here, imagine not spending $500 for the hero tier and becoming Tate's #1 guy. I did it. I'm his guy. He loves me. He chose me. What are you doing? Are you loved by anyone?
What am I gonna do? I'm Hitler's top guy. What am I gonna do?
Is that a Sam Hyde
You know,
skit?
Hitler chose me to lead the revolution.
Now, another thing to point out here is that these extra tiers also come with a daily coin bonus and a power level boost. And that's because not only is this program designed to help you get your money up, but it's also a sick crypto game where you have to pay money to passively generate tokens for yourself. I covered this in slightly more detail in my previous video, but basically it's this entire convoluted thing where if you increase your power level, also known as giving Tate more money, you can earn more tokens, which on paper should be valuable. that's the idea, but in practice, these things are of equal value to the Hawk Tuah coin, meaning it's
Fucking worthless.
garbage.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I'm not going to spend 50 bucks trying to get into this server and seeing all these hidden gems. Firstly, because of what happened recently, which we're about to get into, but secondly, because I've been spending my money on different things. You see this right... Fuck. You see this right here is the Lego Batman, the animated series Batmobile from the 90s.
Damn,
cartoon.
that's
Here you can
cool
see
as
we've
fuck.
got Mr. Freeze there, right here.
Look at that.
We've got Harley Quinn right there, chilling.
Wish
out.
I had that on my
Batmobile
wall.
Even opens. Here we've got Batman chilling in there. All right. It's been a while since I've gotten a Lego Batman set, but they're actually doing these rubbery capes now. Personally, I think it's a good change, and on top of that, I just think that this is a great bang for your buck, and frankly, it's going to teach you a lot more about the world than
The
Hustlers
fucking-
University, or sorry, than the real world ever could. I mean, just look at this thing. You telling me you're not going to buy?
Oh yeah,
this?
did he have to
Telling me this
rename
isn't
it?
you going? Frankly, this is what you should be spending your money on. I'm just saying. Now, thankfully for us, a valiant soldier and member of the YouTube community named No Text to Speech has already infiltrated this Discord server a few weeks ago, and he compiled a lot of the funny things he found. And keep in mind, this isn't an actual Discord server on Discord. It's a homemade site where he just copied the Discord layout and made it out of spaghetti code. But the first thing that happens to you when you log in is you get immediately bombarded by 40 separate notifications telling you to do your daily list and react to other members, and oh, make sure you do your checklist to increase your
daily
power level.
list?
It's like Tate modeled his supposed course of gaining wealth based on like fucking Clash of Clans or any other mobile game that tries constantly.
It's like he made his thing like a fucking, it's like a gacha game.
Microtransactions. And if you check the rules section, you'll also find that rule 3 is do not talk about OnlyFans, whatever you do.
We have normal Discord channel stuff. We have a Start Here channel. We have community guidelines. Oh, let's read these rules. Respectful on-topic conversations. Do not mention OnlyFans.
Ah, yes. No talk about OnlyFans in the Discord server of the guy with a pimping hose degree.
So yeah, on corporatetape.com I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is pimp and hose degree.
Now, there's also a large emphasis on not posting
He-
your actual
he really
contact
was proud of
information
himself for
because
that, wasn't
there's
he?
been a large case of abuse using that, and you'll see later why that is. Now, looking at Andrew Tate's profile here, it shows him as the Diamond King, or as I call him, God Emperor Zaddy. And looking at his diamond rank also shows this entire infograph of every single chess piece and how plebs in the server can obtain this rank. It turns out the more you log in each day, the more you progress to a higher up rank in the chess system until presumably you reach the level right below Tate. But you can never reach his real level because, let's be honest, there's only one of them.
There's only one Andrew Tate.
Just another example of typical mobile game, or really just any game now, that's basically packed with annoying microtransactions to make you log in every day and tempt you.
I know,
spending more money
yeah,
on
that's
gems,
kind of a,
tokens, you know, whatever
you know,
it is,
I'm playing
whatever
Call of
virtual
Duty.
currency they're pushing. This is the same exact
think,
thing, right? But you're
I think I know a
escaping
thing or
slavery
two
by
about
being in
that.
the real world for sure. But in this case, of course, instead of getting any like gaming experience out of it, there's actually no fun to be had. The only fun, if you want to call it that, is you get to strengthen your parasocial relationship with Andrew Tate. And once again, like, it's so funny to me that the entire premise of this server is supposedly to escape the Matrix and break free from slavery by paying $50 to do this mobile game fucking emerald system of chess pieces. So one day you can
escape the
hopefully
system
breathe
to
the
go
same
into
air as
Andrew Tate's
Tate.
system.
Like, it is so transparently pathetic that anyone would pay for this. Now, Tate's server also has this awesome feature called power-ups. You know how on Discord, if you want to message someone, you just right-click their profile and then DM them? Well, that's not how it works in the real world. You see, in the real world, you need to purchase tokens and spend those tokens to get a power-up if you want to message anyone. You have to actually pay for a basic function that any app has for free. And you see, the way that you get these tokens is by logging in every day, also known as spending more money every month, as well as posting epic wins on the #wins channel. Now, apart from all this fun token game shit, the actual courses themselves, the main thing they're advertising here, are, I think, clinically insane. Right when you get in there, you're given this 3-minute introduction video where Andrew Tate brags about how rich he is and how poor you are, and then he turns into a cyborg.
You now know exactly how to become rich. You will see me here, the top G, in many chat rooms and video courses. I exist inside of the real world after escaping the Matrix.
What the fuck?
And the server
What
also
is
gives
this?
you the option to become a hero, which is just like literally the
That's
drink
funny
of the
coming
Kool-Aid
from
meme,
Tate.
like having the wool pulled over your eyes. You are retarded. Commit to 1 entire year starting today to follow the real world's guidance to financial freedom. The real world in the next 365 days, if you truly try and do not quit, will completely transform who you are, your bank balance and physique. By pressing the I commit button below, you commit to staying inside the real world for the entirety of 1 whole year without giving up, canceling or leaving it for any reason. When giving up becomes not an option, it's time to commit. shit. Do these people not know that you can just go to the gym? Like, you don't need Andrew Tate. You can just get a gym membership and go to the gym and lift weights. You can do it. I know you can do it. I believe it, okay? I know anyone can do it. Please, God, Andrew, I've already paid $50 to join this course, and now you want me to pay more money to join the Hero Squad or whatever the fuck? Come on, man. I just want to be a Sigma. Now, there's also an entire section dedicated to how to invest in crypto that's so convoluted and filled with layers of fast money, buy fast, have diamond hands, that it's almost impossible to process how bad it is.
Anyways, unlock signals, open, next, back. Become a professional crypto investor. Begin investing masterclass. Blah, 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 blah. You either get ultra high gain meme coin signal. Does not promote any pump or dumps. And they're talking about meme coin signals. You could either get meme coin or you could get Lamborghini.
And really my favorite part of this server is not Andrew Tate himself. Instead, it's the community. It's what the other people here are posting. Unfortunately, it's probably not a shock to any of you that after seeing everything I've shown you, that someone would still spend money on this course. Thousands of people have, actually.
Discipline is key. Motivation will only get you so far. I'm so glad to know that I spent $50 to get surface level guard. Look how many people are reacting. Remember, every single one of these people.
Who actually listens to Andrew Tate? Wait, what? I thought that was just a
most of the
meme.
people in the server are just autistic, and it's funny. There are some actual posts from what look like regular dads trying to make some extra money, which is kind of sad. Like, I do feel bad for them in a way. It's like, all right, all these people have autonomy and really should be smart enough to know that this is a pyramid scheme. So, like, it's so obvious that they shouldn't be here. But sadly, a majority of people want to get rich quick, and
yeah, it's kind of the thing there, isn't
they're
it?
willing to believe anything, which in this case is Andrew Tate. For example, there's this one dude, Speedy Gonzalez. He's the champion rank, which means that he spent $850 over the course of 2 years on this course. Speedy even posted in the flexing channel saying, having a glass of fire blood next to the fire and reading the Tate Bible paid for the fire blood with wins from selling
Tate Bible?
Sign Daddy. He then posts a video of himself staring directly into the camera as he burns a fire inside his house. I wish this was like a shit post, but no, this is a bald man burning a fire in his house because he made $20 from Andrew Tate's shitcoin. At a certain level, I do wonder if this server can be legally classified as like a cult, because
I don't want to laugh. Okay, I
literally
do want to
this
laugh.
guy
It's
and
really
all these other
funny.
people are
It's really
actually
fucking
reading the
funny.
Andrew Tate Bible and burning fires in their own house.
It's so
Like, how do you even
hilarious.
fix someone like that? This guy is a victim at this point, but he's so deep in it. I don't think you can convince someone out of
He's
his
in the
mindset.
Matrix.
delusion
like,
runs
he's
so deep, it
brainwashed
seems
at this point.
impossible to fix.
You
okay,
can't
for
fix
example, look at
him.
this. Someone posted a picture of their actual child and said, "It's a boy. I have no better flex than Family G." Imagine being this kid's son. You grow up and you later find out that your dad was posting pictures of you on Andrew Tate's Discord server. Like,
God,
that
that'd be
is just
so
a very dark
embarrassing.
place to be. Now, on a slightly lighter note, if you check out the #Victories channel, there's a lot of funny stuff that I literally can't tell what is satire and what is not. I mean, if it is satire, you're spending $50 to do it, so whatever, I guess. But like, nobody on YouTube is really meant to see this. Like, the server wasn't meant to be leaked. If you're posting this stuff ironically, you're only going to be seen by the other insane people here. So frankly, I don't envision a ton of people doing that, but who knows? It's just hard for me to believe that some of these posts are real. Like, I don't want to believe that these are real people. Obliterated a deer on the road and pulled the string off my workout pants to tie the bumper up and still made it to the gym and got my workout in. Zero excuses ever. All I had to do was remember I represent this community. #SKit. He then linked a photo of his fucked up car to show how truly dedicated he is to the workout. Two types of people.
I don't want to
One,
laugh. I
figure
don't want to
out,
laugh.
still go to the gym. Two,
I don't want to laugh.
Excuse.
It's
Like,
really
I mean,
funny
this is,
though.
like, probably the most productive thing someone's done in this Discord server, but realistically, you're still posting it on the Andrew Tate Discord. Now, the last interesting thing that no text-to-speech was able to point out was this ID that came along with this profile. It's a string of numbers that looked very similar to another Discord clone called revolt.chat. And after doing some very basic digging and inspect element and comparing the APIs, it seems like the two websites have the exact same back end, meaning Andrew Tate very likely stole the code for this website and rebranded it as his own thing.
We have Andrew Tate's thing on the left, and we have Revolt on the right. But you'll notice we have autumn, January. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
He's just stealing it straight up.
Andrew Tate's little platform is a ripoff.
And if you look in the
That's
comments,
crazy.
he even followed up with an article.
Whoa, no way.
saying that Andrew Tate stole his software.
He's
His
ripping
definition
people
emailed
off?
them,
What?
essentially saying, hey, you're using my software.
He's ripping off
I need
other
this.
like
You need a
groups
license
and
to
companies
pay for
and
this
stuff.
because this is mine. You can't
No,
just steal
don't
my
say it
shit.
ain't
On the 23rd
so.
of November, I was made aware of their use
My
of
hero,
software,
Andrew
and I immediately
Tate,
began
he couldn't do
contacting
that.
people and prodding through their site. And they ended up getting in contact with the COO of New Era Learning and one of the managers of the Real World. Within the first conversation, I was outright told that they don't care to comply and that they'd rather offer me a $120,000 salary job. And these messages are fucking insane too. It seems like whoever is texting him here has glazed so hard that he's been able to fully embody the way that Tate talks and all of his mannerisms. Let me be completely honest with you. Licensing means little to us. You're a talented guy. I want you to join my team. Work for me. We also pay in crypto. Maximum flexibility. Now, obviously, this programmer was pretty upset about the fact he had all of his website and service code stolen by, you know, Andrew Tate, but it could have been anyone and he still has a right to be upset. And in the end, this is their response to him. Here's the thing. I usually don't bother with offering a job to people outside our brotherhood since it's always trouble. The only reason I'm entertaining the thought of hiring you is because you managed to impress my lead dev.
Cult language right there.
If you're just stealing other people's code, what the fuck is the job of the lead dev? What is he doing? And I also like the subtle psychological manipulation. Like, I wouldn't normally offer someone outside of the Tate circle a job, but you are just so talented. You know, I'm just gonna do charity work for you and offer you this. You'd be stupid not to take it. Since it's Thanksgiving, if you choose to take my offer and work for us, today I'll be happy to pay $10K total for your employment. Tomorrow my offer drops back to $7.5K. By Sunday it won't be valid. I'll make it clear. The only arrangement where you get paid is by being part of the team. It's your choice. You now have the opportunity to change your financial life and become free while doing what you love, or spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and a few years of your life pursuing a ghost offshore company in a location where there is little to no regard to US and EU laws. I'm a sensible businessman.
Okay, so I need to go get brain rot now.
On my team where we make money together. Like, this guy is straight up insinuating that he would have to chase offshore ghost companies. It's so comically shameless and also self-incriminating. It's like, oh my god, you're gonna sue us? Well, we have these secret companies you'll never find out about.
You'll never find out about my secret company.
Now, the reason why all this is being done is because Andrew Tate, despite the fact that he's extremely rich, is apparently too cheap and too much of a penny pincher to actually pay someone to develop a site for him. To this day, I'm pretty sure they haven't actually paid the licensing to that Revolt guy, and there's not much that Revolt guy can do
funny as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
Andrew Tate is in Romania. And even at the end of the article, the dev says that they are a small company and they don't have a lot of resources going forward. But unbeknownst to them at the time, Tate's company would actually pay a few months later, just not in the way that they expected.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we gotta talk about the hacking of Andrew Tate.
Yesterday, agents from the Matrix launched an egregious attack on the most important website on the internet, a website called The Real World.
So
the most important
website, The Real World, or university.com, has been hacked.
And that's the thing about stealing other people's software. It's nice because you don't have to do that much work, but you also end up stealing all of their vulnerabilities that come with that software, and you don't understand how to patch them because you didn't make it. And as it turns out, The Real World was using a much older, more hacking susceptible version of Revolt that had several easy breaches.
Oh yeah, that's easy pickings.
Would then exploit, easily getting into the server and causing a real ruckus. Now, even the hackers themselves would describe the security as hilariously insecure. During one of Tate's live streams, the hackers launched their campaign first by spamming emojis of stuff like the trans flag, Andrew Tate with a big ass, and AI photos of him with gay flags.
Andrew Tate with a big ass. That's fucking hilarious, actually.
Community, being a member himself.
You know, it's impossible to say I gave up without saying I gay.
Don't be
now,
gay.
Because these hackers really wanted to mess with Tate, they also found a very creative way to make the emojis spell out sentences. Sentences like, Andrew Tate is a cute gay gooner, and fun stuff like that. Now, even during the height of this hack, when it was all really going down, you could actually refresh the emoji picker and see 10 new emojis being picked out any second. Now, this obviously caused a massive freak out from all the top Gs that were trying to escape the Matrix, because it looked like the Matrix was finally attacking them. And by the Matrix, I mean a few gay hackers with too much time on their hands and a lot of loot. Like, Andrew Tate literally got brutally owned by people wearing programmer socks. Like, this sucks. And it's not even like the hack was that hard either. They essentially just opened the Chrome tab with inspect element, typed God mode equals 1, and then they got full access to every important thing on the server that Andrew could see. And the key part of the hack is that it allowed access to messages in every single public channel. Now, that may not seem like a huge deal because anyone who makes an account can already view the public channels, but what made that significant is that through that same exploit, they were also able to see all of the private channels. And that's where the real concern here lies, as obviously private channels are supposed to be secure and only visible to specific high-ranking members. Now, the hackers then compiled all this information.
What do you got? There's like some evil shit they have on their Discord.
Absolutely insane. The file size is 14 gigs, and it's 14 gigs of literally just raw text filled with every single private DM and email that signed up, meaning the identities of everybody who signed up are now compromised as well. Now, they also revealed that according to the site's metrics, it generates $5.6 million monthly. That is fucking insane. The data also included 324,000 200,000 unique emails that appear to be users that signed up at some point. And what this really means in the end for the people there is that if you're someone who wants to be a scammer, you now have access to 300,000 email addresses that you can potentially scam. Now, I'm not saying that anyone should do this. I'm not even stating this ironically. Do not scam anyone. But one thing that somebody who's a scammer who has access to these fake emails will do is send them fake emails supposedly from Tate, sending them a link to some kind of website, and then the people would check their email and think, oh, I got a new update from Tate from the real world. I want to click on this. And they then click on, let's say, a phishing link that grabs their IP address or something like that. Maybe it makes them download a file onto their computer. Obviously, it's not a good situation to be in for these guys. But Tate, unironically, because he's too lazy to pay for website code or too broke, exposed them to the Matrix. Now, another huge thing that was revealed here is in relation to Andrew Tate's war room. Basically, if you wanted to meet up with Andrew Tate, you have to spend $8,000 to join the Real Cool Kids Club and become a part of his war room. Now, you'll notice here everyone's faces are blurred, and that's because being in the club is an anonymous thing, right? Which, I mean, you know, is fair for obvious reasons of identity protection, but also I wouldn't want anyone to know that I spent $8,000 to sit in a room with Andrew Tate.
God, that'd be so fucking horrible.
That would be very embarrassing for me. But as it turns out, as people dug through these leaks, they found a link to Google Drive that had videos of all the war room people with their names and faces on it. I'm going to keep it blurred out just in case, but that is a potential hundreds of people that could now also get scammed or get their identity stolen in the future, or even blackmailed if they don't want to be associated with Tate anymore. Like, this could really negatively reflect on their personal life. Their anonymity is gone. Now, Tate would actually respond to all these leaks on Twitter, basically coping and downplaying the severity of it all. We hacked his school and saw the chats of his 800,000 members. The chats are public. You literally just bought a membership and logged in and read the rooms. Call that a hack? What's 800,000 times $49 a month? Oh, wait, you bought a membership. What's 800,001 times $49 a month? We are huge because we work. Everyone makes money inside of the real world. Join us. So he literally just used the hack to downplay what actually happened.
And then advertise. He fucking advertised in the middle of the hack.
Now, he also made an announcement inside the real world, essentially saying the same thing and ending it with, the Matrix itself has failed, the real world is secure, and we've only just begun. Now, obviously, with everyone going through the leaks, more and more videos were coming out, more and more messages were being released and made fun of, but there's one specific video that everybody's talking about. It's basically Andrew Tate and Justin Waller. Justin Waller is like one of his associates who's on his shows all the time. He's a part of the Tate Circle. And it's basically these two guys explaining how to isolate women from their friends and families so you can sow division among their friend group and then isolate them from them so you can abuse them. It is fucking insane.
You're a bad guy now. Why don't we do that even though the fish line is trying to flex? You don't get gets in their head. That's not trying to isolate them. And things we talked about thus far, like some degree.
What's with the... I don't know what's with the crawlers that keep appearing.
All these things tie in to isolate them and keep you away from the outside influence. Every outside influence trend. All of it.
Now, this isn't exactly shocking information given that it's Andrew Tate, but it is funny to see him even in modern day saying it clear as day that that is like what he does. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out that these are the same tactics that he likes to use to traffic girls. And Andrew's brother, Tristan Tate, also has an older series online where he talks about how to pick up girls, granted in a less extreme way, but we do see some serious parallels.
You have to be their boyfriend for an extended period of time. You then have to take her virginity on the second month anniversary or something along those lines. And I'm going to teach you how to do it while
what the
still
fuck?
being in a playboy lifestyle scenario.
Frankly, I think these hacks are pretty indicative of the state that Andrew Tate is in and how bad his reputation is. Like, to a certain extent, when Andrew Tate first came out, I think everyone just found him entertaining as a novelty because he was funny, and ultimately they were like, well, he's probably just fucking around, right? He's joking. But at this point, it feels like no one respects or cares about Tate or even finds him funny. They just want to make fun of him all the time. They're sick of him. Most people just want to move on with their
I would
lives
expect
and are
most people to be,
thoroughly
yeah.
burned out of hearing the bald man speak. At the end of the day, Andrew Tate's basically screwed and he knows it. In fact, both him and his brother are. In the grand scheme of things, this hack doesn't really matter that much because no matter what, the charges the Tates are facing mean that they're most likely going to rot in jail in the near future. So despite the real world making $5 million a month, all that money is most likely not going to stay with the Tates for very long. It's either going to be seized by the governments that are charging them, or they're going to have to use it to pay legal fees because they're currently being investigated by the Romanian government. And after that trial concludes, they're being extradited to
Somebody
England
logged
to
onto my
have the trial
TCG
there.
player
Oh, how the
account.
mighty have
What?
fallen. It's so sad, you know.
No.
I was a huge fan of Andrew Tate in the beginning. He was my number one guy.
It was my brother.
Now I just can't stand by
probably
him
selling
anymore.
something on
It's
there.
sad, man. It's sad when you have to disavow a good friend like that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Wow. This is taking freaking forever to get this done. What else is there? Thank you, Tom, for another glizzy gobbling meal. The Hawktua scam? No. CoffeeZilla destroying Mr. Beast? Perhaps. Textone allegation.
Boys and girls, Thanksgiving is coming up, and everyone is thinking about
Oh wow, this was like a bit ago, wasn't it?
rekindling old relationships, and having a fun, wholesome time eating some turkey at the dinner table. But before you do all of that, before you do whatever it is you think is important with your family, we've got something very important to discuss, like more allegations of abuse. Hooray!
Whoa,
Yes,
those are my favorite. I love I love.
Already straight this year. This year has been like the year of allegations. I mean, we had.
I don't love
disrespect,
abuse.
we had
That's
Chris
a slip of the
Tyson,
tongue, a Freudian
We've had so many
slip.
different allegations with varying levels of severity, varying levels of evidence, varying levels of proof, and some of them have also been false. And the most recent allegations are about
Oh, thank
Tectone,
God.
a streamer. You guys probably know him as being one of these, he plays these weird anime games, okay? It's not really my thing. It's like an anime game, but it's gambling. I don't really understand it. I don't really get it. I don't
That's
really
a good way to
anime.
put
You know,
Genshin
it's
Impact.
Not my world, not my thing, but he does it, and he's very successful at it. And he's so big on Twitch that he is, or rather was until this happened, a member of OTK, also known as One True King, which is basically like a streamer group, frat house.
They
sort of
fucking
thing.
love
Everybody's
getting
popular
into
streamers
what
make
the
a bunch
biggest
of
thing about
content
OTK
together,
is the
and
drama.
more
They
often than
fucking
not,
love
they
getting into
accuse each
drama.
other
They
of
love
going gorilla mode
fucking
on each
up
other,
all
so
the time.
sometimes, now and then. I think this is like the third time there's been allegations about someone in this specific group, which in fairness, with any concentration of people put in one place, there's bound to be an allegation between each other, especially when they're all degenerate YouTube people, degenerate streamer people, right? Like way back in the day, we had the allegations that Adriana Lee made against Crazy Slick, who was Mizkif's best friend. Mizkif obviously being a very big streamer. He's also a member of OTK, and it caused a lot of strife, a lot of problems within the OTK organization. So needless to say, OTK has been in a lot of controversy, and a lot of tweets about the situation are like, it's always OTK, which it's not always OTK, but it has
Yeah, it's a
happened
lot
with
of the
OTK
time.
people
Come on, you
before.
gotta
The
admit
rep is just
that.
destroyed. I feel like Mizkif at this point is probably like, man, what have I done? But what else could really get you guys in the Thanksgiving mood aside from discussing allegations of misconduct? I mean, come on, guys.
I
I'm
love
basically
that.
at the
That's my
dinner table
favorite
right
Thanksgiving
now.
activity.
I'll have some allegations with a side of cranberry sauce. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer here. I'm not a huge fan of Tectone or anything, but I have seen some of his content. I've seen some of his takes around, and I think he's pretty funny. Okay, I do think he's a funny guy, so there is a slight amount of bias here in terms of that, but I don't really have any stake in whether he's innocent or guilty. We're just gonna look over the allegations.
Never watched
as they are
Tectone's
and try to come
content.
to
I've
our
seen
own
it.
conclusion
I
based
think
on
I've seen it on my
evidence
recommended
which in
page
this
like
case,
once.
well, we'll get to it. Now, this entire drama started from Tectone's former interest, former love interest. Maybe love is a strong word there, but former interest. Her name is Pinky Chu, and even prior to this situation, they actually made headlines in regards to their relationship. Earlier this year, Pinky defended Tectone after people online were speculating that he had divorced his ex-wife after having an affair with Pinky Chu. And so at the time, she was clearly defending him. She was on his side. She was like, no, Tectone's a good guy. That didn't happen. He followed the boundaries of the relationship. He followed the boundaries of good standing for content creators, okay? Because, hey, if you're a content creator and you have a bad thing happen in a relationship, well, I personally think that you're done. You're toast.
Was it cheating on her with Pinky before divorce?
And like I said, and I'm gonna clear it up again, that's not true. Okay, I've already shown you my tweet, my first messages with Tectone, and as you can see, even with the cameras that she spied on, it was in December. Okay, December 18th is when we met in real life. December 16th is when we first ever spoke and had any kind of interaction, like online. And then here is a public divorce. The date of the filed divorce was November 21st, 2022. Okay, Bream had already moved out in September, and they're already talking about and trying to get paperwork together for divorce. She didn't file it until November. Okay, there's no cheating.
Now, months after that incident, Pinky would also vaguely talk on stream about being cheated on.
Okay, weird question time. Has anyone here ever been cheated on? How do you react to something like that, by the way? Like, is it weird? Like, I know some people are like, oh, you'll crash out or something when you learn about that, like you got cheated on. But is it weird that for me, like, I just like, oh my God,
I fucking hate this kind of content.
And this obviously led a lot of people to speculate that Tectone may have cheated on her.
This weird ass ankles with like exercise equipment and shit. I don't know. It feels weird to me, man.
Covering for him, and then later on, maybe he got her back. Maybe he cheated on the wife and cheated on her. Like, there's just a lot of crazy speculation around this stuff. You guys know how it goes with any drama situation, especially with the personal lives of streamers who have some of the most parasocial audiences ever. It can get touchy. It can get very touchy. But at this point in time, Pinky Chu is not coming out against Tectone. She was avoiding going full blazing Saddles, Blaze of Glory, Burn It to the Freaking Ground by Linkin Park. Okay, she was avoiding that. But in September, she would actually tweet something. Please stop talking about me on stream. Stop lying. I broke up with you because I suspected you were cheating on me. Stop taking pot shots at me on stream. You know, the next day we got back together, I broke up with you on July 23rd. Didn't want to be your friends with benefits on July 26th. You wouldn't even let me ride in the car with you and Sophia, and I was outside the house drunk and alone. I'm not stupid, and I suspected cheating. Just stop. It wasn't good. It was a lot of bad. So it's obvious here that their relationship has fallen apart. They're no longer buddy-buddy. They're not getting along in the way that they used to, and so now she's coming out against him and making some allegations, but it's nothing too serious, right? It is obviously, I mean, cheating's not a good thing to do, but cheating's not a good thing to do, but I will say that, realistically speaking, these are not like game-ending allegations. It's more like, okay, well, he was kind of mean to me. I thought he might have been cheating on me, but I didn't really know. And she's mad, apparently, that he was taking pot shots at her on stream. I don't know if that's true, but it very well could be. You know, sometimes streamers will kind of make offhand comments about their personal lives and not really realize how much of an effect it can actually have in the real world, or maybe just not realize that the person they're talking about may get mad at them and freak out. But I don't know. I haven't seen those clips, and I can't seem to find them anywhere. Now, there would also be several follow-up tweets of Pinky talking about potential victims, and she specifically used the word "we" when talking about them. He is not lying to protect me. He's lying because he doesn't want Sophia to know we were still together. I was told by someone else he told her this same lie. And here you have him saying, you ever just lie to protect someone, but they make it so hard. So clearly she's saying like, oh, he's not lying to protect me. This isn't for my benefit. This is because he doesn't want the truth to be exposed. Ooh. Now, that same exact day, Pinky would tweet heavily insinuating that Tectone had forced his wife to sign an NDA about this abuse that allegedly happened, as well as showing pictures of what looks like plane tickets. So here she said, we both know how treated me and your ex-wife. I think she meant you, how you treated me and your ex-wife. We both know how he treated me and your ex. We both know how you treated me and your ex-wife. You had her sign an NDA to keep her quiet about the abuse, then told me specifically
I don't think that works. You can't do that. You can't sign an NDA. An NDA doesn't stop somebody from like reporting you to the police for like actual like going against the law. That's not how that works.
She didn't even know Cruz till a month later.
How the fuck?
As shown here, this is how he treated both of us. Our friends.
I don't. Do people not understand how these things work?
So she's essentially just accusing him of cheating here, but on top of that, she's also accusing him of abuse, which, to be clear, from what I know, it depends on what it is, but if it's like some kind of misconduct that crosses the legal boundaries, to my knowledge, you can't have someone sign an NDA for that. Or
yeah, you can't do that. That's not how that works. You can't. An NDA doesn't stop somebody from reporting you for breaking the law.
The law that the United States government has set, so it doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe she's misinformed. Maybe she's outright lying. Who really knows? I don't know this girl. You don't know this girl, so probably not good to get too invested here. But regardless of that, this doesn't look to be completely as straightforward as she's making it. Now, this was all the way back in September, so this was months ago. But now that we have this background, it's time to get into the actual current allegations now that we've built the story a little bit. And another thing I want you to keep in mind here, I'm going to make a little bit of a disclaimer here before we go forward with this situation, okay? The important thing to remember is that there's zero actual evidence on either side when it comes to this.
Mr. Gold, baby.
Is wrong because she very well could be telling the truth. But it's ultimately up to the accuser to provide proof beyond a reasonable doubt and not the accused. Unless the accused like admits to whatever, you know, they're being accused of, despite the absence of a preponderance of evidence. We want to go by the innocent until proven guilty mentality here. Just keep that in mind as we move forward. This case is very much a he said, she said type deal.
It always is.
Of having anything that I can
it always
prove
is.
Said,
it's never
I have
not.
To ultimately assume that what he said may be the case. So on November 20th, Pinky would tweet, why is it when victims try to come forward about sexual abuse, they get silenced by clout chasers and orbiters, and CEOs trying to line their pockets from advertisers? How many women with the same story have to say something till people realize
come on, you know, I don't know. I don't like that. That's some virtual shiggling ass shit. It's like, it's current climate. You gotta agree with me instead of this guy.
And millionaires that abuse women just continue to get away with it. Now, this is obviously a very loaded claim, and on one hand, you know, a lot of people have made similar allegations and speculations about OTK, One True King as an organization, because of what happened with Crazy Slick back in the day. There's a lot of info out there on the internet if you want to look it up, but essentially what happened was there's this girl named Adriana Lee. She was asleep, and some people allege that while she was asleep, a guy named Crazy Slick, who was a member of OTK and one of Ms. Gift's best buddies, had come over and touched her. And essentially, past that point of time, the allegation as far as Crazy Slick was not even the biggest part of it. The biggest allegation was this claim that Ms. Gift and Maya and these other members of OTK had tried to cover up the SA allegations. And so what Pinky is saying here is kind of alluding to that idea, alluding to that preconceived notion, which is that the streaming world is just like Hollywood with Harvey Weinstein and all those guys, and victims will never actually get their justice. They're being silenced, they're being blacklisted, stuff like that. But in all reality, this was just a prelude to what she would share later that day. And several comments would end up asking what exactly she was referring to, because they wanted her to elaborate on this statement, to be like, hey, you're making this very vague statement. Is this about
it's a very loaded claim, yeah.
someone else? Is this, you know, what's going on here? Is this about your dad, Gerald? What's going on here? And at 6 p.m., she would actually validate their speculations. How are you supposed to feel if a guy is abusive and makes you cry, then shoves your head on his crotch and demands you suck him off? And his excuse is emotion just turns me on when you cry. The gorilla mode allegations are in full swing. Jeez. Or when you are asking that you don't feel comfortable doing something sexual and he records you and demands you stop making faces and pretend you like it. Or you say you don't want to do it anymore and he shoves your head down till you throw up. Guilt trips you into giving BJs and says, do your job, you don't pay rent. I took you to a water park, so you owe me. And all you can do is sleep upstairs because you know what he's going to keep telling you to do. He doesn't touch you, doesn't have sex with you, just keeps you around as a BJ machine and degrades you. A
BJ machine.
Isn't that a thing you can buy? I know this is probably a bad time to bring this up, but can you buy that? Isn't that like a thing? Like a product? I've heard. So I've heard. I wouldn't know anything about it. That's just what I've heard. Don't goon. Makes you feel ugly. Don't wear baggy clothes. Straighten your hair. At least wear eyeliner around the house. Your self-worth totally crushed. I hate that people warned me. I didn't listen because I was so manipulated. I hate that I was lied to when another girl who went through worse was trying to come forward. Me and her are good now, but I should have listened. When you're in it, you feel blind to reason. I see some comments that are worrying, and I just want to let y'all know I am out and have my own place and I'm safe. Don't want to worry anyone. I've been taking it one day at a time since this. Now, while she didn't explicitly name Tectone, it was kind of obvious to people replying who she was referring to.
All right, I'm going to go grab another gun.
With Tectone, if something was going on there, she had defended him in the past, so people were like, all right, well, who else could it really be? I mean, it has to be this one obvious guy, unless it's someone else. She's just not saying it. So all of the replies would reach out.
So the PM and the Grakova are what I need to do from the pistol category now.
Later, where she said, I feel so much better. Thank you for the love and support. I hope the next girl sees it and is able to stand up for herself. I think I needed to say my piece so I could move on. I don't care about things blowing up. I just wanted my side to be heard. Now,
oh shit, right. I forgot I can just, you know, whack them.
Talking about this. There's a lot of
and of course you give me the one I don't need.
He's made that are kind of vague, but they kind of ascribe a certain belief system to it. There's people who don't like him because he's gotten in certain dramas and they feel he came out on the wrong end of it.
That's what I need to use. I kind of forgot.
In general, who do exist, but then there's also people who do like him and want to defend him. He has a very loyal fan base. I'd say one of the more loyal fan bases on Twitch, especially in the gacha game community. And so with everyone talking about it, Tectone himself felt the need to respond, and he would actually do it on stream and on Twitter.
So if you're confused, you're going to stay confused. Because this shit is not about content for me. Okay? I know the person who needs to hear this is going to hear this. And I mean this genuinely, okay? I did everything for you. I helped you with everything. I fixed everything for you. I was there for you.
Oh, fuck. Of course I get the Strider. Out of any other fucking pistol or gun, I had to get that again.
People, the same people who are talking behind my back illegally, by the way. The same people who placed me under an NDA, where I cannot talk about them. I know they're talking to you right now behind the scenes. And they're getting you to believe in bullshit. You're talking to retard after retard, letting them get in your head and make you imagine problems that never happened. And it's insane how these things that have happened in your own mind, you are now coming at me.
Now, this NDA that Tectone mentions makes me think that maybe his ex-wife somehow got into communication with Pinky and they started talking. Again, this is highly speculative. We don't really know what's going on here, but from the information we have previously, I think it's fair to say that maybe the case. There's some behind-the-scenes action going on between these people who believe they're abused, or maybe they don't believe they're abused and they just hate Tectone and want to get at him. Once again, we don't really know. It's hard to really say definitively what's going on here with these people's intentions, especially with the absence of evidence. So it's really tough to say what's going on. I think when you watch the clip, a lot of people took what he said as like, oh, well, he's not denying the abuse, so he must have done it, right? But that's not really what's going on here. If anything, more of what he's saying is like, hey, it really hurts me that this person would say these things when I had done everything for them. Now, obviously, just because he said that doesn't mean he's innocent, but it also doesn't mean that he's guilty, and I think that's the important thing to remember. I just don't like the fact that a lot of people are jumping to conclusions about this when we have no evidence that he's done anything wrong, really.
You know
now,
nothing!
In his response tweet, he went into far more detail, and there he said, as many of you are aware by now, Pinky Shoe, my ex-girlfriend, has accused me of a number of things that I can't let go unaddressed. I've been accused of sexual assault, potentially prostitution, and severe emotional abuse, among other things. I want to make this extremely clear. Everything she accuses me of in her statement is a complete lie. Nothing about these accusations is true. They are entirely made up. Out of respect for our previous relationship, I will give Pinky Chew 2 weeks to apologize for these statements and acknowledge that they are false and inaccurate. If this does not happen,
let me go. Oh, don't let me use the freaking thingamajigger.
Lies with a reckless disregard for the truth. I have preserved all text messages, videos, and additional evidence from the time during the relationship, and am more than willing to prove my innocence in a court of law. I am more than willing also to comply with any legal investigation into the truth of what actually happened. I am certain that when all the facts are laid out, my innocence will be unquestionable. As a victim of SA myself, I find it absolutely disgusting that someone would weaponize a lie on this scale. Using false claims of SA and our words R-word as a weapon to achieve some sort of revenge for how a relationship ended does more damage to real victims than almost anything else. It's because of liars like Pinky Chew that weaponize trauma that legitimate victims are questioned and aren't trusted. Because of how serious these accusations are, I will not discuss them in any capacity until I am certain there is no other path forward and I'm forced to pursue legal action to clear
There's
my
like a
name
countdown
and
or some
lives.
shit.
Thank you
I
to
think it was
all
on
my
stream or it
community
was
for
on
sticking
Twitter or
with me
some
through this.
shit.
Your
I don't
support
remember.
means the world to me, and I'm not going anywhere. My content will remain unchanged as I have done nothing wrong, and I will never let a baseless lie stop me from doing what I love. So right off the bat, I mean, he is outright denying the allegations here. He's saying I didn't do anything. He's saying the relationship between me and Pinky Chew ended poorly, and as a result, she is trying to use our poor ending of a relationship to claim that she was assaulted, when in reality, nothing actually happened. That's his claim. Now, Twitter's reaction to this was somewhat mixed. Obviously, it's kind of along the lines of what you would expect for someone like Tectone, who has some controversy. People who like him say he's innocent. People who don't like him say he's guilty. That's just the way it goes, right? That's the way that
yeah,
human
that's
brain
Twitter.
works, unfortunately. Evidence does not matter. Having anything dead to rights does not matter. It's just, if he is a guy I like, he is not guilty. If he's a guy I don't like, he is guilty. That's literally it. But one of the funniest replies was from Keemstar. He replied to Tectone's tweet saying, I have no idea why all you streamers date these OnlyFans clout demons. You guys always get wrecked in the end one way or another.
True. True.
Classic Keemstar coming in, had a good take. He had a good take. He doesn't always have a good take, but in this
oh
situation,
fuck, I didn't even see what
he
it
had a good
was.
take. Now another guy here from the politics sphere of Twitch would also come out, a guy named Mike from PA. He's known for punching coaches in
that's
the past.
actually
He's also
useful.
known
Okay.
for making some death threats against other streamers, and he would say the allegations against Tectone are horrifying. I hope Twitch does something quickly to keep this community safe. So here he's essentially encouraging.
He's just
Tectone
like,
to
okay,
over
yeah,
unproven
that's the.
allegations because of the fact that he doesn't really like him or doesn't like his political takes. Basically, I feel like that's not a good way to go about it. I feel like, you know, if the allegations are proven to be true in a court of law and you want to ban him at that point, okay, fair enough. But at this point, there's literally no evidence that he did anything wrong. She said he did something wrong. He said he didn't. So what the truth is up in the air. The only people who really know truly are them. But with no evidence, I have to assume he's innocent at this point. But Mike from PA is just like, all right, he's guilty. Ban him now. And several people who also had beef with Tectone in the past would also tweet making fun of him, basically saying they're glad these allegations are happening. Like this guy, for example, named Canths. He said, I am shocked by the news that Tectone, a worse version of Asmongold, is a piece of shit. Who could have seen this coming? And his evidence for this is that he said the word retard. Who cares? Who cares? How does this mean anything? How does this mean anything? Because he said the R word. He said the R word. Well, I guess anyone who says retard is just touching women. Apparently that's what this guy believes. He doesn't like the fact that he made a joke tweet that said it's okay to be white. To be clear, I don't think Tectone's doing anything weird there. I think people are making this out like it's some kind of white supremacist dog whistle, but like in current year, it's really not. He's just making a joke. They also don't like that he said he's gonna make fun of fat people, as if that matters once again. And
hell
the
yeah.
thing that really was a nail in the coffin for this guy was that he said Kamala Harris better be ready to start up an OnlyFans because her ass ain't going to be the president. That apparently was enough for him to think that there is.
I think it's funny. I honestly wasn't expecting the election to end that way, to be honest.
These people basically have no.
I thought Kamala had it in the bag just because it's current day, you know.
Must be guilty. Guy I do like can't be guilty. Literally every streamer has said the R word at some point in time. Does that mean they're all touching people? I don't think so.
Actually, honestly, now that I think about it, it's really only Twitter users that were considering her to be, you know,
so they were like, let's support him. They got him
viable
to a level
candidate.
20 hype train, which went as far as getting 800 new subs in 10 minutes, which is pretty crazy, all things considered. You know, his community is very loyal. They're financially supporting him, so that's interesting to see. Now, one tweet would get almost 40,000 likes saying, depressing as F that we're at the point now where R-word allegations are helping.
Okay, hold on. I gotta look up
now,
Power Drill.
The weird thing about this is like, okay, obviously the R-word allegations, they're helping his career a little bit. But
Power
if it was proven
Drill.
that he had done that, it would not help his career.
Camo
he
challenges.
Would be blown off the face of the earth. He would be astro shot into space. He would be nuked from orbit, right?
I mean,
that is what would
where
happen.
is
the thing is here?
Where is
fucking
what was that website? Alpha, whatever.
Proof it makes sense that this audience would be supportive of him through a tough time when they believe he's innocent. Now another familiar face here needs to come in. We saw Mike from PA. Now we get to go to Denims, who's a Hassan orbiter, and she would also talk about Tectone in a very negative light. I can't seem to find the original clip, but it doesn't really matter for this context because Tectone would respond on stream essentially shitting on her. And,
just get 300 eliminations and then get 10 Mangler eliminations. Of course.
About you? Dude, I only watch Denim's clips offline. Yeah, with my pants off.
Okay, that's actually funny though.
Yeah, just shouldn't bother.
Now, Denims didn't like this very much, despite the fact she publicly has an OnlyFans. She said she was being harassed sexually because of this. She said,
yeah,
"Interesting
harassed.
move to sexually harass a streamer after trying to disprove your sexual allegations. But we can see what
Sure,
at Twitch support think." Like, it's so funny. These people just got banned for being crazy on Twitch for doing a rating panel where they rated Jews below Arabs on an official TwitchCon event. They all got banned for that, and they're already coming back. They're already like, all right, time to use the same censorship tools that we just complained about to censor the other side. Like, really? Is that really?
Yeah, it's fine as long as they do it. That's
also,
what the thing
really
is.
Sexual like, you do have an OnlyFans where you publicly post your nude body, so like, I don't know. I don't.
It's
I
out
wrong,
there.
Like, I'm trying to stay neutral in this entire video because when it comes to allegations, there could be more proof that comes out.
I don't know. I don't like anybody in this situation.
I don't know him. I don't have any personal ties to him.
If he's so confident that he's right, then I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards him.
This shit is retarded.
Not gonna lie.
Attacking someone on live stream is not sexual harassment when you have an OnlyFans. Like, shouldn't that be something you're proud of? It's not like you're hiding this. It's not like you're like the most covered up girl of all time. Like, you're literally proudly publicly posting pictures of your nude body. You can't take a joke in that vein. But either way, this isn't even the first time Denims has had some kind of beef with Tectone. They have kind of a history. Most infamously, she laughed at him on stream talking about his dad having PTSD because Tectone's dad is a soldier.
Yeah.
My dad's deployed 17 times.
Yeah,
my dad has served for
RedTubers love laughing at fucking horrifying things that happen to people.
Seeing my brother,
Hassan with the whole rape thing. It was like, yeah, women getting raped.
My dad also
fucking
has
hell.
PTSD, and it's very awful to fucking see. And
So, I mean, you know, she's in that Frogan camp, essentially, because Tectone was reacting to Frogan being nuts and what she said. So, this girl, Denims, was like,
Yeah, Frogan's always been
PTSD.
fucking piece of
It's
shit.
so weird to see these streamers act as if they have any place to talk about anyone else's hardships when, like, you are literally a streamer who just steals people's content all day. That's all you do. Denims, for those who don't know, literally for an hour before she starts her stream, she just plays other people's YouTube videos or streams and is just not there. That is what she does. Like, you are literally a content thief. You have the easiest job in the world, and you are shitting on soldiers for having PTSD. I'm not saying every military operation is good, but if you want to criticize the military, criticize the people at the top. Don't criticize the average people who needed a job or went into the military for whatever reason, who then got traumatized as a result.
I don't know. I don't get the whole criticizing current, you know, like fucking infantrymen for neo-imperialism.
Once again, there has been literally zero actual proof shown. Like, she is straight up slandering him.
There's no accusation here. There is only factual proof.
Oh yeah, fucking Denims. Denims love saying shit that they don't know anything about.
It's not an opinion.
I don't like Denims. Denims is a smug
Now, a few
fucking.
days after Tectone
Hate
made his
Denims.
initial statement, he would
So
amend his
fucking
initial
smug
points,
all
and
the
he said
time.
that
It's so
Pinky had
annoying.
2 weeks to come clean initially, right? But now he's saying she has 24 hours to admit that she made a false allegation before he pursues some kind of legal action against her.
Pink, before I made a post, I said I would give you 2 weeks. You no longer have 2 weeks. You have 24 hours.
So things are really heating up at this point. The allegations are getting more serious. There's threats of legal action. He seems confident in himself. Pinky Chew seems confident in herself. And at this point, things kind of got crazy because Tectone resigned from OTK. He resigned from his organization where he was a part of with Asmongold, Mizkif, all these guys.
He said before.
Now, obviously, there's been a lot of speculation around this.
I think I saw a clip of it. He said before that he was just going to leave. He wasn't going to renew his contract or whatever.
Resigned. It was like, you know, I'm leaving, but secretly he got kicked out. But Tectone explained in his own words that his contract had just expired and he decided not to renew it, which does seem to be the case looking at the dates
that's exactly it.
showing, at least. I mean, that could be the case for sure. But it also could be the case that OTK wasn't desperate to re-sign him because of how these allegations look and how people are talking about them, and obviously he could be a business risk to them, whether he's guilty or not. There's also another clip floating around from about 2 months ago where Tectone insinuated he was going to be leaving OTK anyway, so this seems like it was actually a long time coming, with the allegations here kind of being part of the straw that broke the camel's back, but I don't think it's as black and white from what I can tell as OTK dropped him because he did something bad. Like, first of all, like I said, there's no proof he did anything bad. Secondly, the timing here does seem to line up with the prior clip.
And the reason why I chose to not renew with OTK is because it gave me a weakness. And I realize I really don't like having weaknesses. And that weakness is that I don't like how people can go after other people when I do some dumb shit. As a guy who does a lot of dumb shit, a lot, I don't like having to worry about other people.
Now, other members of OTK have also reacted to the situation, basically saying, if it's true, he should be in jail, but
yeah,
if not,
that's like everyone's, that should be everyone's take, is like, yeah,
you know, right now, is being pretty smart.
innocent until proven guilty. That's how it always should be, but, you know, it's the internet.
Innocent until proven guilty, right? Tectone still has yet to drop
The internet is the
24-hour
greatest
bomb
argument
planning
against
plan, and it could be the
democracy.
case that he's silently pursuing pursuing legal action and not taking it public, which he did say on a stream that he was going to be pursuing some kind of legal action. So ultimately, that's the situation that we're in right now. You know, with any allegations in general, you have kind of the public-facing part of it, which is like this girl makes a claim, Tectone denies it, they go back and forth a little bit, Tectone threatens legal action. Past that point, we don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, which at least if we take Tectone's words with any weight, which, you know, we can't take it with a grain of salt, but with any weight, there does seem to be people behind the scenes moving to destroy Tectone. Now, there could be justification for that we don't know about, but the big point here is we don't know about it. So I don't like to make definitive statements saying that he's fucking guilty when we have literally no evidence of it. And a lot of the arguments from the people like Denims who are saying he is guilty ultimately are only going to hurt actual victims in the future, or if there's real victims here, she's going to hurt them, because it pushes this idea that because you're on a side of the political spectrum, you're guilty, that because you make fun of people on stream, you're guilty, when in reality, things are much more complicated than that. Oftentimes, the nicest, most publicly facing, awesome, positive people, oh my god, I love you guys so much, those people oftentimes are the guys that are the most twisted, and sometimes the people that are the edgiest are the least twisted. But also, this exists on a spectrum, of course. Sometimes, you know, people of one political disposition or people of one belief system can be completely in contradiction to that in their private life, and we just don't know about it. Like, there's just too much speculation here to say that Tectone did it, because there's so much room for error, because we don't know. So if evidence comes out that proves that Tectone actually did something evil, I will cover that, but until that point, I have to assume his innocence ultimately. Anyway, today is Thanksgiving, so I hope that in between watching this video, if you're watching it on Thanksgiving, you guys are eating that turkey. Okay, I know it's a little dry, but just scuff it down. Okay, it's a tradition. Spend some quality time with your family and your friends, and hopefully think about me, because if you're not, that's a problem. And I think more importantly, the thing to remember is that this video of serious misconduct is partially sponsored by the shirt I'm wearing, which is coming out tomorrow, for sale tomorrow. Check it out. You see that swag? Oh yeah, see that? Oh yeah. We also have a crew neck coming. It will be out tomorrow. It will be out on tomorrow's the 29th, so it'll be out tomorrow. You guys can buy it.
Gus Johnson allegations.
Posted a video titled "My Ectopic Pregnancy." For those who don't know,
oh yeah, they fucking dropped him. Like, Gus got fucked over by everybody, didn't they? Just because he got she accused him of some shit, right? And then he fucked him over so long. And that's happened to like a few people, hasn't it?
A fertilized egg begins growing outside of the uterus, usually occurring in one of the fallopian tubes. This is not how babies are supposed to be made and can result in life-threatening complications like internal bleeding. So Sabrina made this video where she did not name Gus, and she described her experience going through an ectopic pregnancy prior to the video's release. She describes how she had discussed with her partner before she got pregnant that they would not have a child if she got pregnant. Instead, they would go to Planned Parenthood and go Mossberg mode on that fetus.
I always knew
mode.
that I had to end it, because I feel like when you start a relationship, you have the conversation of, hey, if you get pregnant, what's the plan? And of course, it's so easy to say like, oh yeah, absolutely, I'm not ready to be a parent yet. No, not anytime soon. But God, it's so much scarier when it's happening to you in real life. So that was really hard.
Despite them having that conversation ahead of time that they would not have a child if she got pregnant, once she was pregnant, she began second-guessing herself and thinking that maybe she should have the child. But she claimed that Gus was pressuring her to not have the kid, forcing her to get an abortion.
And I'm reiterating over and over, I mean, look at my appointments. This was always what I was going to do. I was constantly taking the steps to end the pregnancy. But it's really scary when somebody's forcing you to do it and then being pressured by your partner to do it. It felt like I didn't even have a choice.
Wait a minute.
It
Wait,
really
where are
felt
we?
like I
We're only 2 minutes in. I feel like I missed like a beginning part of this.
What would happen if I didn't?
And this is one of the main contentions that she has with Gus, that he was forcing her to make the choice that he wanted rather than allowing her to have the choice over this child. Now, initially, when she went to Planned Parenthood, they said they could not see anything that they could abort. So they said, hey, come back in a few weeks and then we'll do it. She went to regular doctor's appointments where they determined she was not showing signs of pregnancy. She went to more doctor's appointments, and every time she went, they were like, we don't really know what's going on here. We don't see, anything we can Mossberg once again. It seemed like something was wrong, but she didn't know what, and neither did Gus, and the doctors were saying, I don't know, probably nothing, come back later. At one point, she started experiencing serious abdominal pain. Her stomach began to swell.
Oh shit, are hackers in COD again?
Because they're basically saying that she's gassy. Some major farting action is taking place, chat. She went to the hospital twice in one day, where they said she was likely miscarrying and told her to go bleed it out at home. So she tries to do that. It's not really working. She doesn't really know what's wrong. Gus doesn't know what's wrong. The doctors are like, oh, it's probably nothing super serious, right? Now, one day, she's at work, and she begins to feel particularly awful and in pain. She leaves work early and tells tells Gus Johnson, her boyfriend, that she's going to the hospital. He says he'll join her later because he needs to focus on work obligations.
And he said, okay, well, I have work to do, and it involves other people, and then we're gonna go out and get dinner and drinks with them. So I had to go to the hospital alone.
So she's at the hospital for 4 hours by herself in the waiting room. Finally, the doctors do
That doesn't seem like something I don't.
Regions
That
and
doesn't seem
determine
like
there's
something Gus would do.
seriously wrong, but they're not quite sure what. Gus ends up showing up just in time for them to determine that there is an ectopic pregnancy going on, which, as I mentioned earlier, is very serious. And the doctors realized that she had been bleeding internally for days. Not only that, but according to her, the surgery itself may not work out and could result in death. I mean, it could have caused her to die. That's what that means. That's what result in death means, in case you didn't know. Wow.
It just really felt like my body, my choice never got to even apply to me. And that part really sucked.
So she immediately went into surgery.
I'm so confused. What about that has to do with what Gus was having a problem with?
But the physical and emotional effects of this continued to stay with her for weeks, months, a long period of time. She says that not that long before this video is released, when she was in the hospital for a different surgery, she had a panic attack because of the trauma that she suffered as a result of the entire experience with the ectopic pregnancy.
About
now, going back to the
600,
ectopic incident, she was released from surgery
6,450.
around
I should
3
be done with
a.m.,
one of
okay?
these.
Wheel her out of the hospital. She could barely even stand up, and Gus drives her back to his place from there. Now, something to note here is that she didn't want to tell any of her family about this because of the judgment or lack of support she felt she may face from them.
Just in case it did go wrong, I called my mom and I lied and I said it was an ovarian cyst. It's not a big deal, but I just wanted to let you know what hospital I'm at. Don't come! So you don't want anybody to find out. I remember even before surgery too, once I found out what was about to happen, I called my sister and I'm like, oh hey, I'm at the hospital. And the first thing she says in the most judgmental voice is, what, you're pregnant? And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm not telling you anything.
And as I said, there are other complications that came from the pregnancy. Postpartum depression hit her pretty hard, and according to her at the time boyfriend, Gus, was getting very fed up with her and was not being emotionally supportive at all. She felt that she couldn't sleep alone due to the mental anguish, so she was sleeping at Gus's place with his roommates there, which likely made them pretty uncomfortable, as she says. But she was going through a really hard time, and she needed him there. But according to Sabrina, Gus grew very resentful of these feelings that she had of the trauma she was experiencing, and apparently he wasn't the nicest. He wasn't very nice at all. She says he told her how hard it was for him to take care of her in those moments, and basically framed her as like she's a burden I don't want to deal with. I just don't want to deal with it, right? This is annoying to me, which is obviously a very not nice thing to do to your girlfriend.
He still continued to live his life as if nothing ever happened. And there I am in the background in the shadows, just trying to pretend that I don't feel like I'm dying.
That's an odd way to put that. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, what is he supposed to do?
You know, sometimes tell me things like, you know, someone else would have left you by now, right?
Okay, I don't.
So the lack of support was really hard.
Now, all of this was definitely very hard for Sabrina to go through and potentially traumatic, and it's okay to feel bad for her. That's the natural human response. I mean, getting an abortion is hard enough in and of itself, and then finding out it's an ectopic pregnancy, and then on top of that, your partner is not truly there for you. They're immature, they're callous, they're being demeaning to you. They're saying things like, if you have a child, I'll break up with you, or I'll leave you, or stuff like that. Obviously, these are some very not nice things to hear from your partner, and Gus Johnson, in this case, was a complete f***ing asshole, and you can't deny that. There's no excuse, I would say, for his behavior in that relationship, right? Gus was a very boyfriend. You cannot deny that. But that is...
Wait, that's real? He really said that? What the fuck?
Him being a boyfriend doesn't constitute
I was
abuse.
doubtful
It
at
just means
first,
he's a
because I didn't
boyfriend.
hear this
Now,
before,
Sabrina
but
never
fuck
used
me.
the word abuse, keep in mind, so she didn't make that allegation at this point in time, but you'll see why that word is going to become very relevant pretty soon. Now, frankly, I don't think this video needed to be made public. I would not have made a public video talking about a traumatic experience like this because, I mean, the internet just doesn't need to know what I go through personally, but ultimately that's Sabrina's choice. But what you can criticize her for is talking about this story that involved Gus when seemingly he didn't agree to it being put out. Seemingly he wasn't cool with it being put out. I mean, at the time we had no idea what his wishes would be, but we have no confirmation here that Gus even wants it out. And obviously, given that Sabrina's a public figure, people are going to figure out who she's talking about. Now, I also take issue with something she said in the video itself, which is the idea that Gus forced her to get an abortion. Sabrina herself says that before she got knocked up, her and Gus had a conversation about what would happen if she did get pregnant. And in that conversation, they agreed that they would not have a child if she got pregnant. They would terminate the pregnancy. Once she actually was pregnant, she had second thoughts and was thinking about maybe having the kid. Now, this is a perfectly natural thought process to have, and I don't blame her for, thinking about this. But to blame Gus for being upset at her over this is pretty ridiculous. Even if you want to criticize his wording, where he said that he would leave her if she did have the child, which I think, honestly, that wording is very cruel, and you can criticize him for that. But frankly, she's not willing to take responsibility here for the fact that she, initially said she wouldn't have a kid, and then she gets pregnant. Now she's like, well, I will have a kid, which is obviously a decision that would really impact Gus.
And I did have moments of weakness where I would cry and say things like, okay, but honestly, can we just consider, what if we didn't do it? Still gonna do it, but can we just consider what would happen if I didn't? And he would say, no, it's not even a question. You're gonna ruin my life if you do that. That would be the worst thing to ever happen to me. As along the lines of things that he would say. And at one point,
along the lines,
he even said that he would break up with me if I didn't do it. And that he would resent me and the potential child.
Obviously, if this is how Gus communicated this to her, then the wording is very mean, and he was putting some level of pressure on her. But imagine the pressure that he felt in that situation too. He dates a girl, and they agree that if she gets pregnant, they will press the big red eject button, okay? They're, once again, Mossberging. Now, when she's pregnant, she's apparently changing her mind. She might actually want to have the kid, and she's telling that to him. A decision that would not only affect her, but also affect him for the rest of his life. He would now be a father having to help take care of this child, one he did not want. He would be obligated to pay child support if he no longer wanted to be with her. These things can forever alter a person's life. It's a financial strain, it's a strain on his time, which once again is very valuable. Time is money after all, especially because at this point in time, Gus was much younger. He was in his early 20s. And then think of the child and the child's well-being. Is this kid gonna have a great life if the father didn't even want to have him and he was the result of an unplanned childbirth from two people that are ultimately too young and unfit to take care of him? And Sabrina at the time was comfortable with basically scaring Gus into thinking maybe she did want to have the kid. When, like I said, they agreed prior that they wouldn't fucking have a kid, and then she gets pregnant, she's like second guessing herself. She's like, oh, maybe I want to have it. And to be clear, that thought process is fine, but by that same token, it's okay for Gus to be like, we agreed we wouldn't have this kid. What's wrong with you? Even if his wording is bad.
And so at that point, it's like, well, if you're making threats like that, why should I consider you in this decision at all? And so I did start to think a little bit more. Should I actually end it? And it's true. That was me reneging.
Like, the thing is, they already made this decision. Then she wants to change her mind. This is totally unfair to Gus. Should he have been more supportive of her when she needed him to go to the hospital? Should he have, showed up probably immediately when she said, I think something serious may be going on? Yes, undoubtedly. But as we know from Sabrina's video, she had already been going to the hospital repeatedly, where every time they determined there was nothing wrong with her. In hindsight, the doctors were almost gravely incorrect, considering that she had an ectopic pregnancy. But how could Gus have known that? Just because she emphasized that this was, the real time? Don't you think every other time she went to the hospital, she said it was also the real time? Probably. It's because she emphasized this time that it felt serious.
And I told him, something's wrong. I'm going to the hospital again. I don't feel well. Something is wrong. And he said, okay, well, I have work to do.
Now, you could interpret this as Gus just not taking it very seriously. Should he have? Maybe. But this is between two consenting adults. The internet, frankly, doesn't need to know, and we shouldn't even have this information from my perspective. And the same applies to the lack of emotional support to her after the fact from him. Should he have been way more there for her, given all of this? Obviously, he should have. His behavior was downright, it's rather detestable. It's bad. He was a very bad boyfriend, okay? He was. But in my opinion, for her to hold this against him to this day for being a boyfriend in his early 20s is ridiculous. And the reason that I use the wording hold this against him is because Sabrina and a lot of the audience very much tried to do so. And the immediate response from a lot of people at the time this video came out was like, oh, well, she didn't even name Gus in the video. That argument is very but we'll get to why in a moment. Now, I want to take a little detour here to note something important from this, okay? Which is that Sabrina's initial video, which is framed as her retelling of a very traumatic experience, which ultimately also caused Gus Johnson a lot of professional loss, it's sponsored. This video is sponsored. At the end of it, there's this weird tonal change where it just transitions to an advertisement for some app.
Video sponsored by Fabulous.
Why do you need Fabulous? Fabulous is the #1 self-care app to help you.
Oh my God, really?
Your goals.
And this is clearly
Holy
a
shit.
conflict of interest. Sabrina has now created a financial incentive for her to get this video, which talks about her personal trauma and frankly demonizes her ex-boyfriend to get the most amount of views possible. I mean, she's literally being sponsored to shit on her ex. If that isn't a red flag, I don't know what is. Speaking of red flags, do you remember how I said that Sabrina didn't name Gus in her initial video? Because the framing of that first video was like, this is my traumatic experience. She said she was making it because she wanted other women to be able to relate to her struggles within the healthcare system and, you know, the complicated abortion process and Roe v. Wade abortion rights, all that good stuff, okay? All that stuff that, you know, the girls online like to talk about, okay? That's what she said her motivation was, which is a fine motivation. That's totally fine. But there's a very big difference between what Sabrina said her motivation was and her actions, which, in my opinion, show what the true reason behind this video coming out is. Well, first of all, the relationship was very public, with them doing a lot of collaborative videos. It wasn't hard for the audience to put 2 and 2 together and figure out which ex-boyfriend she was talking about. But you can't criticize her for that. I mean, she hid his identity because she didn't want to cause reputational harm to him. Maybe some people will find out, but that's not her fault, right? She doesn't support that. She doesn't support them going after him. I mean, she didn't want to cause him any harm. That's why she liked to tweet encouraging people not to speculate too much on the situation and focus on her story rather than starting drama and taking away her agency in the situation. Good move, Sabrina. Love to see it. Well, she then used her agency to reply to someone on YouTube who said, I know you didn't mention your ex by name, but I think we can all figure it out. I canceled tickets we bought for a show next year. And Sabrina responded to this commenter thanking them for their support. She's thanking them for canceling a ticket to his tour, which is directly financial harm. She even liked a tweet that said in plain text that the video was about Gus. So at this point, she's undoubtedly identified her. Likes are public on Twitter. Anyone who watched the video can go to her Twitter and see that she liked that. And they're going to be like, hey, it's about Gus Johnson. But whatever. I mean, people are going to find out anyway, right? Who cares? What's the big deal? Well, she then liked a tweet that claimed that Gus Johnson abused her mentally, verbally, and emotionally, which is a word that she didn't even use in her original video, weirdly enough. Now, normally I wouldn't read into Twitter likes too much. I mean, it's just a Twitter like, what's the harm, right? Well, when you make a video talking negatively about someone, a like on a tweet about them reads as a cosign of that messaging. Unless she explicitly says otherwise and her likes are actually for her to keep track of the tweet or because she made a blood oath with that person or she's sending them some kind of device in the mail, okay? Unless she explicitly says there's some other reason for her liking tweets, people assume that it's an endorsement. But she never said that, of course. She never said, oh, I don't actually like these tweets, right? She just was quiet. She was very tight-lipped. She then liked a tweet that claimed that Gus suppressed her from telling her family. But this isn't even a claim that Sabrina makes in her own video. She says that she chose not to tell her family because of the way that they would take it.
Just in case it did go wrong, I called my mom and I lied and I said it was an ovarian cyst. It's not a big deal, but I just wanted to let you know what hospital I'm at. Don't come! Because I didn't want anybody to find out. I remember even before surgery too, once I found out what was about to happen, I called my sister and I'm like, oh hey, I'm at the hospital. And the first thing she says in the most judgmental voice is, what, you're pregnant? And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm not telling you anything.
So, did Sabrina actually mean to say that Gus forced her not to tell anyone, but she just didn't say that in the video for some reason, where she talks about all of her qualms with him and how he was a piece of shit to her? Why is the story changing now? Well, it's probably because this just didn't happen, which is why she never claimed it in the video. It seems like she's okay with other people stretching the truth about this situation, even after she just claimed that she doesn't want people speculating. What she actually means is that she likes people speculating when it's in her favor. She even liked a tweet claiming that Eddie Burback is the good one out of Gus and Eddie Burback's little friendship YouTube partnership, but Gus is the evil one. I mean, this kind of thing can pressure Eddie to want to drop Gus due to negative public perception, which he did end up doing, but Eddie didn't do it just because of Sabrina. He has his own reasons.
Like, the podcast is not coming back.
And we'll get to that a little later. So the worst interpretation of Sabrina responding to that comment and Sabrina interacting with all these tweets is that she is post-hoc spreading misinformation about Gus. The best interpretation, meaning the most charitable I can give to her, is that she's just okay with the misinformation being spread. The result of both is that 1, Gus looks worse than Sabrina even claimed he was in the video, and 2, people now know who Gus is, they know Sabrina is naming him, and they assume that Gus is an abuser, which Sabrina didn't even say in her video. Now, shortly after Sabrina's video came out, Gus posted an apology actually on his Twitter account. So let's read that. I'm aware of a recent video that calls out some actions that I'm not proud of, and I want to apologize. These circumstances were clearly hard and complicated for both of us, but I can't even begin to imagine how difficult it was for her. We were young and not remotely prepared to deal with the realities of a long-lasting traumatic medical situation. During the talks, counseling, and therapy we went through together following this time, I came to grips with my behavior and recognized my shortcomings, and I would like her to know just how deeply sorry I am. I fully realize what I did wrong and wish I could change how I responded and acted during that time. I've grown a great deal since that happened, and I wish I knew then what I know now. I will continue to grow and learn and strive to be a better person every day. And then he finishes by saying that he's stepping away from his podcast and he's canceling the rest of his live shows for that year. He's going to issue refunds, and then he says he's going to be taking time off from YouTube stuff. So here, Gus admitted to being a horrible boyfriend. He doesn't argue with her video. He apologizes to her and then voluntarily takes a financial hit in canceling his live shows and stepping away from his podcast, The Gus and Eddie Show, which was co-hosted by Eddie Burback. Did he need to do this? In my opinion, no, but his audience was pretty pissed off that they found out that Gus Johnson used to be a boyfriend, and maybe he actually felt bad for what he did, and he, wanted to show that to the audience, that he felt like he was a bad person at that time. But this was not enough for Sabrina. She posted saying that she would not accept a misleading apology with lies in it. She said she did not forgive him. Now, I'm not saying that she needs to forgive him. I mean, ultimately, this is between Gus and Sabrina, so it's kind of, who forgives who is up to them. But my big question here is, why would you even say this if you're going to be so vague about it? Like, is she implying that he was consistently to her after this? Was he, like, consistently abusive, maybe? I mean, she didn't use that word in her original video, but she's comfortable with other people using it to describe what she went through. So was he consistently abusive? Did he not change? She's saying his apology is insincere. Why is she saying that? Now, on Instagram, she also posted an image of a Pokemon card with the same exact statement from Twitter. Now, this may seem innocuous to you guys, right? You may be like, a Pokemon card, why is that even there? When I saw this, I was like, what does this even mean? But basically, the reason she used this image is because of another claim. Remember how Sabrina said that she had another surgery during which she experienced some residual trauma from what happened before?
Yeah, for those of you who are wondering, in my nose video that I recently uploaded about when I talked about
I've just kind of zoned out this entire time. It's been certainly something.
I had. There it is. A month ago for my nose.
Wow, Mystic Gold.
Or
I've done it.
The PTSD
that's 33 out of 33.
Had a moment. I felt like I was back in that first.
Technically it's 33 out of 33. I technically still need to do the Siren. I still need to do that. But
yeah.
Wow, that was
when Gus posted his apology to Twitter, a bunch of the replies
I'll save and
were
quit.
about her rhinoplasty, her nose job, claiming, how could you be opening packs from a children's card game when she's recovering from surgery and needs your support? And this is basically to show that he didn't change as a person. That's what Sabrina is implying with her Instagram story. But the nose job is an optional cosmetic surgery that she did not need. And also, like, opening Pokemon cards is part of his job on his live streams. I mean, comments on re-uploads of his Pokemon card opening to this day call him a bad person over this. Wow, what a great Pokemon stream. I'm sure this was the most vital time for Gus to stream. But once again, a nose job is an optional surgery. It's a cosmetic surgery. It's plastic surgery. Him opening Pokemon cards when you're getting a nose job or recovering from it is not
damn. Look at that.
Abusive,
look at that.
Even a bad boyfriend or evidence that he didn't change from the ectopic pregnancy. Like, he's doing his job. And furthermore, how am I supposed to believe that she's so emotionally broken from this particular incident and he behaved so horribly when at the time she made multiple videos about it, and even one day after it happened, she made a Q&A live stream, which is her work. So, like, when she's recovering, she can get work done, but he can't? I don't really understand what's going on here. Like, what is this discrepancy, Sabrina? Now, she would go on to complain about people speculating about her content and what it's about, but, like, you made these allegations public. Like, people are going to speculate, right?
Every step of the way, I was being second-guessed by medical staff, by my partner.
How can you complain about speculation when you make a video about your ex-partner, who is a public figure? You're then liking a bunch of tweets that spread misinformation about him. You're thanking people for no longer financially supporting him. And on top of that, when he apologizes, you make a very vague statement like, I'm not accepting
KSB's done. Panto's not done.
What lie? Like, what
919's done.
The only
Jackal's
lie that
done.
she kind of implies is the case is regarding her nose job, and that's where she also liked to tweet claiming that men cannot comment on the situation because this is a systemic issue for women. Yeah, I mean, if you want to say that the healthcare system is the issue and that's systemic, then, like, go ahead. I
So
guess.
just
I
the
still think
C9
you
and the
can comment on
Tanto
that,
then.
but,
And the Tanto,
whatever.
I think I
But
have a
Gus's
few on there
actions
already.
are not systemic. It's Gus and Sabrina. We're talking about Gus Johnson Johnson. This is stupid.
Okay.
In my opinion, this kind of tweet is just to discredit anyone who questions.
So it's
Sabrina's
just
narrative.
these
How can
three.
you even question this? Well, she's leaving a lot of room for interpretation, and she's
And then
behaving
there's
weirdly. She claims the video
this
is
is
like
done.
to tell her story about her ectopic
This is
pregnancy
done.
and like help
So I need
women.
the
And then on the
AEK
other hand,
done,
she's,
and I need the
acting in such a
Sarkov
way
done
to
as
get
well.
Revenge on Gus Johnson. It's kind of strange. Meanwhile, on a bunch of
Ripkova,
subreddits, the
I don't
fans were
think it's
dropping
done
Gus
right
like
now.
a 7-year-old heavily used
No,
fleshlight.
I have 14
This
on there.
woman is
That's
missing
not
most
bad.
of her reproductive system and almost died, while her boyfriend minimized her pain and put his work and friendships over her during recovery. It baffles me how many people under that tweet are putting any sort of blame on her. Jesus fucking Christ. And they're not the only ones. Eddie Burback, who had a podcast with Gus and had done as many as 31 collaborations with him. I mean, Gus really helped out his channel. He ended up
We
making a
are
statement that he'd like to do
approaching
future work
maximum
with his brother for
velocity.
now, implying that the Gus bridge was burned. He also unequivocally supported Sabrina's video and what she had to say. Now, I don't blame Eddie Burback for this. It's ultimately his prerogative what happens with him and Gus. It's whatever. Like, I can't make them be friends, right? So that's his decision. And he didn't even publicly talk Gus, so whatever. But the amount of misinformation being spread during this time, which Sabrina let slide, first of all, or signal boosted, is ridiculous. Over on Reddit, someone was claiming to be Sabrina's friend and came out with even more accusations, which then spread across the internet like wildfire.
There's a thread
Alright.
allegedly written by one of Sabrina's friends. And gotta say, not only is it the funniest thing, but it's the reason
Oh,
I
wow.
have a
I am
problem
so
with
close to
fueling
being done. Oh my
speculation.
God.
There's an accusation of Gus being verbally abusive
3-round burst.
consistently
What is
throughout
this
their
for?
relationship. And apparently, there was a whole list of accusations that was deleted within 4 hours, because I saw this post within 4 hours of it being published. And apparently, she's Sabrina's friend, and there's like 20 accounts being like, oh bro, trust me bro, she's real, and Gus is abusive, and she proved it, but no bro, no, I can't show you, but Sabrina totally knows about this, and trust me, Gus is trash, abusive. When things like this happen, and fact versus fiction is being so blurred by you, it takes away your credibility and makes people question the merits of your story as a whole. It also perpetuates people having their careers ruined based on baseless claims and accusations, just like a post like this does. This hurts accountability in the long term because it makes people more skeptical of the motives of the person enabling this. In this case, Sabrina.
So let's do a little recap of what we have so far,
Alright.
just to remember it all.
That's gonna be it for me today. I gotta go do DoorDash for money. What is my DoorDash like right now? Hold on, let me check it out. Only 14? Damn, that sucks. Making spirits bright. How fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Woo! Okay. That's gonna be it for me. I'll probably hop on later. I'll probably get this done. I want this done now. I want Nebula, and it's so close now. I only need the Siren. It is... Oh, let me change my camo text. So it is... We're 24 and then 32. So only 9 more on the Opal, 1 more on Mystic Gold, and then I can start doing Afterlife. Which is... God, I can't wait to do that. That's gonna be so nice. But yeah, that's it for me today. Bye-bye.